If we were standing in your physical shoes, and we often are, we would be making lists of positive aspects, and we would be reveling in the general perfection of your planet. We would awaken in the morning and speak our appreciation for the sun coming up, whether you can see it or not. We would acknowledge the perfection of your planet spinning in its orbit, whether you can see any other planets at that moment or not. We would feel appreciation for the intelligence of our physical body and for what the cells are doing, for what they know how to do. We would feel appreciation for the bed upon which we had slept and the pillow beneath our head. And we would bask in the deliciousness of the coverings upon our body. And we would acknowledge at the beginning of every day, this is a good day. I have such a good basis from which to begin. All is well with me. Source energy is aware of me and has my back. And everything that matters to me is known, and all things are lined up. And I'm on an eternal treasure hunt of treasures, because the universe knows what I seek and knows where those treasures are, and is pointing me on the path of least resistance to the adventure and the fun and the thrill that I've defined as my desire. It is so delicious to create with you. It is so fun to walk on your beaches and sleep in your beds and eat at your table and revel in your expansion, when all along what you were seeking was your natural and well-deserved joy. We said earlier that the vibration of a problem and the vibration of a solution are very different. You can breathe into the solution. The problem strangles you. You dance your way into the solution. You just stumble and fall and hurt yourself when you're focused. But you had to know the problem. Just don't make a career out of fixing the problem that can't be fixed. You can't fix a problem. You can only find a solution. You cannot fix a problem. You can only find a solution. They're different. It's very different. And your inner being has already found the solution, knows all the pieces of it. The pieces that are relevant to you knows right where they are and is saying, come on over here, come on over here, come over here. And if you have been practicing following good feelings, then you're on the trail of that. And when you see it, it will surprise and delight you. You'll see it in places you didn't even know it was. We have the benefit of understanding the unequivocal law of attraction. We have the benefit of knowing unequivocally the goodness of you and of everyone else. So we don't get confused by step one, because we understand it and adore it and want it and encourage it. You gotta know that step one matters. Step one, ask. Life helps you to do that. Step two, answers. Not your job. Step three is your job. Line up with the solution rather than rail against the problem. Now sometimes railing against the problem makes it bigger, but it gives you more insight, because sometimes there's a lot of things that problem can help you understand that you want. There are lots of facets to a problem. And so the more you poke around at it, the more another rocket and another rocket. Haven't you noticed how there's a lot of things that are produced from your awareness in something, from your attention to it? The more attention you give to it, the more you'll be able to examine it and know what you prefer. So we have some questions for all of you. These are big questions. And don't stress over the answers. Just let yourself feel for them. Do you like to choose? Do you feel like it's natural to want to choose? Do you think that some should be allowed to choose and others not? So does it seem like a good idea that everyone really is choosing? Is it logical to you that sometimes people think they're making a choice because they're speaking words that seem like choosy words? Like I want, I need, I demand, I expect. They use strong words. But is it possible that someone could be using words to choose when it's not words that choose? So is it possible that a lot of people are really asking for things that their words don't match? So they want to feel good, but they're screaming their lungs out at some injustice. If you saw someone in the street bleeding, we are certain that you would go help them in whatever way you could. But when you see someone in the street railing against something or screaming about something or disapproving of something, sometimes you don't feel like wanting to soothe them into their alignment. You just like to make them disappear from the earth. But what you really want to do is step away from what you can't soothe and soothe what you can. And trust that they're asking for soothing, and their path of least resistance for their soothing is always going to be different than your path of least resistance for your soothing. You all are going to get so good at knowing that you're supposed to feel good and practicing getting there that things that used to seem like great big hairy horrible deals to you just won't bother you that much because you're embracing the bigger picture. Do you believe in the goodness of life? Do you think that good is dominant? Oh. And so if good is dominant, and it is, doesn't that feel better? Then somehow by looking at a little pocket of unrest and deciding that all the good is gone and only bad is left? You're going to go on a vacation, you've picked Paris for your destination, you've got your tickets, you've got your hotel reservations, you've got your airline tickets lined up, you're all set to go, you get up really early, you get that early flight, you have food on the airplane, you take a nap, you watch a movie, you get over there, and then you leave the airport and you get in a cab and you go to your hotel and you step out into a newly overflowed sewer. And you say, so this is Paris. But is it? Or is it just something that you stepped in that doesn't really represent everything that you're going for? And does it mean that you're not going to have a good time there? And yet, so often when you step into something, and sometimes there's a lot of attention that's given to something so it feels like you can't avoid stepping in it, but you always can. You get out ahead of it. You expect to see the good, and then your inner being guides you to where it is. And this is what is so ironic and really quite funny about the subject of looking for the good. The good is huge in comparison with the absence of it. It's huge. It's huge. You want to ask yourself, how did I get fixated on so much to worry about when there is so much obvious well-being that is surrounding me on this planet?
I understand. I've listed a long time, and I used to talk about the wobble. I would like to live life where I have better control of my wobble and can keep it at a high vibration and can notice those moments when the lions are coming.
The way you do that is by looking at manifestations that you've already accomplished that you feel happy about and milking the appreciation that you feel. by acknowledging that some things have manifested that were at one time, and maybe even for a long time, still in a vibrational state. And when you chilled out about it, then it came into easier view. You just have to massage your thoughts into those better feeling places. That really is the work. And we know, friends, it feels counterintuitive to humans who have been counting on your action to make things happen. But it is our promise to you, your action is minuscule in comparison with the power and the leverage of alignment with this vortex. Most people are offering most of their action or behavior to compensate for not flowing their energy in a productive way. You worry about stuff and you don't line up with well-being, and you beat the drum of things not going well for you. And then when things don't go well for you, then you dig in with action and hard work, and then you get exhausted. Because this receiving mode is not just the vibrational place. Just like you have to set your radio dial on 98.7 FM if you want to hear what's broadcasted from that tower. You can't set it on some other frequency. You have to tune your tuner to that broadcasting tower. And so we want to convince you that this vibrational reality, that this vortex is a broadcasting tower that includes everything that you want and all that you are, and the path to full manifestation of every bit of it. And if you can accept that that is so, and then you can just care about tuning yourself to it, which just means think thoughts that feel good, then everything will turn out the way you're wanting it to. Such a nice thing. You could have 5 things, we know you've heard this, that are important to you. There are always more than that, but let's say 5 major things. And 4 of them could be going extremely well and 1 of them not well. And you as humans mostly think that you better dig into that one that's not going well. And as you do, you tune to what's not going well, and you actually pinch off the well-being on the other 5 that were going well. Conversely, you could have only 1 thing that's going well and 5 things that are going awful. And you could focus upon the 1 thing that is going well, set your tone by your attention to that, and the other 5 would fall into alignment, because the receiving mode is the receiving mode. But when you believe that you have to work hard to compensate for inferiority or for past wrong deeds, or when you feel that you have to work hard in order to justify your existence, all of those things are so contrary to what your inner being knows about your readiness and your worthiness, that you get crosswise of the energy, and then you do offer more effort, and then you get tired. Where if you're feeling good about yourself and others, if you're looking for positive aspects, if you're counting your blessings, so to speak, looking for reasons to feel good, not having knee-jerk reactions to so many things, then you're in the receiving mode. But the receiving mode is also the replenishing mode. That's where your stamina comes from. That's where your clarity comes from. That's where your vitality comes from. That's where the good ideas come from. But most humans, we love you so much, you know what's coming next. You are reacting to things. So you're looking around, wanting to be objective, and that's a good thing, because you got to sift in order to launch those rockets. But as you're looking around so often, instead of identifying what you want and running with it, you are having a reaction to what you don't want. And when you are reacting to what you don't want, then you're putting more emphasis on that. So you're actually often vibrating more in contrast to what you want than you are in harmony with what you want. Every subject's 2 subjects, what is wanted and the absence of it. So sometimes you're thinking that you're thinking about money when you're really thinking about not having enough of it. Sometimes you're thinking about having or getting or improving a relationship when often you're thinking about the absence of a relationship, or something about the relationship that you've got that you don't want. And so if you don't introduce an understanding into this equation of what your emotions are telling you, then you can't guide your thoughts at those early subtle stages. And if you don't guide them at early subtle stages, then law of attraction is going to carry them into greater and greater momentum, where you believe then that you have to take action, but there's not enough action to compensate for that momentum that's going in opposition to what you want. So what's the answer? Chill out. The answer is be nicer to yourself. The answer is think more thoughts about yourself that feel good, and about others too. The answer is don't work so hard. Give yourself a break. Get more rest. Be nicer to yourself. Do more of the things that feel good to you. That's the way you turn this around. You got to give yourself a break. You cannot demand yourself into alignment. You can't effort yourself into alignment. you've got to release. You've got to let go. You've got to let go of resistance. When you let go of that cork, we promise you it will